Welcome to a Tuesday. It is April 9th of 2024. For this edition of Litter Media Live, I'm Dan Ramey. He's Mike Smith. Aaron Glandon has returned. He's been eclipsed, and he is
I can't see anything.
Can't see a thing.
Can't see a thing. Driving back from Indianapolis had to be extra special with him not being able to see anything.
Yep.
Was the traffic bad?
It wasn't terrible. I waited till like 9 o'clock to leave. So I got home at like midnight.
So you took the advice, go early, stay later.
Yes.
Okay. Of course, we know why he stayed later.
Yeah, we do know why. There was a special interest.
There was another eclipse taking place.
Careful. No comment is the way to go at this moment in time. All right, coming up in a matter of moments, we will revisit the eclipse. I tell you, it's been really cool going through Facebook and seeing a lot of the people sharing their experiences. We'll talk about our experiences here locally. Now, Aaron was in Indianapolis, and so he was in where it was total eclipse. So we will talk about that and a whole lot more coming up in the program here today. News, sports, and this date in history is our revolutionary moment. But you also have an actual this date in history, right?
Yes, we don't usually do that. But when I saw this, I chuckled because for it to have happened in 1866, it's like, did I read that right? You'll find out later.
Yeah, because it could very easily go with 1966.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, so all that's coming up in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at what our weather is doing for us today.
Yes, no eclipses today, but we do look for some clouds and a high of 69. Now, the rain will probably be with us over the next few days, Wednesday through Friday, before drying off for the weekend. Wouldn't be surprised, even though it's not in the forecast, that you could have a pop-up shower sometime this afternoon. That happened yesterday. It really wasn't in the forecast, but there was a kind of a pop-up thunderstorm that came up out of southwest Ohio. So don't be surprised if that happens again today.
But nothing
severe expected.
And nothing apocalyptic, nothing like that. So that's good to know. All right, so all that is just ahead for you and more coming up in a moment here on Litter Media Live. But first, let's tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. You know, they've been in business now for almost 5 decades. They have 8 different offices throughout central and southern Ohio. They can serve your needs when it comes to heating, cooling, and plumbing. So if you want to click on this ad anywhere you see it on our website, that's littermedia.com. It will take you right to their website, which is accuratehvac.com for accurate heating, cooling, and plumbing. News is next.
Our financial lives have never been more complex, and some decisions just can't wait, which is why our K&B Mobility app gives you instant access to the financial tools you need wherever you are. Get a clear picture of all of your accounts, check your daily transactions, receive account alerts, and much more. So no matter where you are or what you are doing, you can make the best decisions for you and your financial goals. Download our Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
Haynes Total Healthcare Center, located on One Medical Drive, just off of Marietta Road here in Chillicothe, can meet your chiropractic, your physical therapy, and nutritional needs, and more. They've been doing this for 50 years, celebrating their anniversary this year for Haynes Total Healthcare Center. Click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com, and it takes you to hayneshealth.com. Time for news, which you can always find on our website, littermedia.com. And not only there, but we share a lot of things on our social media through Litter Media X, formerly Twitter, here on Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel. And shared again, a couple of things. We talked about the flight simulator, and also caught up with Javon Moffmer from Chillicothe High School, who just finished up his Cedarville basketball career. We've got more details about his plans are for the future, so you can read and see more about that on our social media.
Very good.
News starts with the solar eclipse.
Yeah, I was in Indianapolis yesterday for the eclipse and for no other reason. And it was really cool being in the path of totality because, as you can see in this time lapse that I took, it becomes nighttime at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And it was really crazy to see. I had my glasses on up until the moment of totality, and there was just a tiny little speck and then of the sun, and that speck went away, and then I took my glasses off, and it was like nothing changed. I couldn't see anything. And you can see those are automatic lights up at the top of the screen, and they'll come on right here because of how dark it's getting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is dark.
Did you have to put your jacket on?
It got cold, but not cold enough that I needed to put a jacket on. Because before the eclipse, it was bright, and the sun was beating down. I could feel it. I was sweating.
Now, keep in mind, this time lapse is about a minute and a half here, but the moment of totality was 3 minutes long.
Yes. And I listened to Dark Side of the Moon, and I timed up the song Eclipse, so that happened when the totality occurred, and it was perfect. It was awesome.
That is pretty cool. Now, there were some other time lapses we saw, and that includes Great American Ballpark down in Cincinnati. They did this pretty cool. I mean, look at that, how dark it got. And that was in Cincinnati. We did not experience that here because we were, according to what we were reading, was 97% of the solar eclipse. So there was still 3%. It's amazing how much light 3% of the sun puts off.
That's probably the most amazing thing that I experienced was because I would take my glasses off and look, of course, below the sun and think, wow, that is still bright.
Yeah. Well, we shared some photos here also. NASA had done a lot. You'll see these shots come from Mexico, where they were experiencing the total solar eclipse. My granddaughter, I was showing her this screenshot that I took with my phone. And by the way, that's my brother Mike on the left. We'll tell you more about that.
He's in Mexico?
Yeah. and so I showed her the screenshot of what Mexico was seeing. And then she put the glasses on, looked up at the sun, and she goes, wow, it's just like Mexico. But that's my brother Mike. Mike has been, how can we say, science geeked out on this. He decided, this was 2017 when he went down to, I believe it was Arkansas, where they watched the solar eclipse. It was the pathway of totality at that moment. Well, this was yesterday where they went over somewhere in Western Ohio and was watching as well on a farm. And it was really cool to see his setup. I mean, he's got, as you see, the telescope there, his projector screen, and how it cycles through the telescope and then projects itself up on that screen. Homemade in that respect.
I think it's crazy how perfectly the moon lines up with the sun because the sun is so much larger than the moon, but it's just far away enough that the moon can totally block it out. And it's crazy.
Now, was it you or someone else talking about the difference between is it the annular?
The annular eclipse is where the moon is closer to the earth. And because it's closer to the earth, it's not blocking out as much of the sun. So that's where you see more of the sun around it. And so if the moon is closer to the sun, it's going to block out more of the sun. So that's what we had the experience yesterday.
It's like comparing a volleyball in front of a basketball as opposed to a baseball.
Yeah, using the basketball as the sun and take a volleyball in between it is going to block more of it out. But then if you take a baseball or a tennis ball through there, you're seeing less of it. So there's your annular as opposed to the total, like what we saw yesterday.
Now, when my wife and I were watching this on the back deck of our home yesterday, this question came up, and I forgot to look it up. How is it that you can watch the sunset, like at the beach, where it's going down over the horizon without hurting your eyes, but you can't look at this? I mean, is it that much farther away? going over the horizon, or what?
I think it's the. Now this is just me.
This is Jeff Mays.
I read it's because when it's dark, your pupils will dilate, and then if you're still seeing the sun with your big pupils, that's going to damage you.
Okay.
Yeah, I could go with that. And I think it's also the angle of the Earth with a sunset as opposed to, because when you watch a sunrise, you can see it start to pop up, but then boom, you can't look at it anymore. So I think it's just the way the crest of the Earth is coming in its rotation.
Makes sense to me, because I've taken a bunch of sunset pictures at the ocean and never had any issue, looking at it. So
I found it interesting watching the NASA channel, which my wife is like, we have the NASA channel in our phone. Yeah, we did. And so I was watching people's reactions and everything else, but they were talking about launching rockets up so that they can, because with the moon blocking so much of the sun, they can actually tell a little bit more about the nebula and everything. Right. Now, listen to me, Mr. Rocket Science.
Let me look that up.
But the cool thing that I saw on there was from the International Space Station. They were showing. Now, I wanted to see the view of the eclipse they were having, but the camera shot they were showing was you could see the Earth like what you normally see from the space station. Right. But then there was this big shadow being cast on the Earth, and I thought, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really awesome. Yeah. The one other takeaway that I had from all this, I was telling 5-year-old Amelia, I said, Amelia, now think about this. The next time in this area we're going to experience something like this is 2099. You'll be 80 years old. And she says, but I like being 5.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Yeah.
I thought, oh, Lord, can you? And my brother always told me, he says, when they're that age, you just kind of wish you could put them in a freezer and then just kind of bring them out and play with them when you want to.
Do you remember when you said this?
So, yeah. Cute kids. Really cool experience. And again, watching other people's experiences. I'm disappointed that I didn't make time to go further west to check it out. And you say that was well worth.
Yeah, it was. I've never seen anything like that.
I mean, before. Outside of your other interest of being there.
Aaron's thinking, I didn't want any company yesterday. He didn't tell us what happened when the lights went out. But that's another story.
We did speculate what might happen. I mean, it's 3 minutes of totality.
My mom watches this show, guys.
Oh, well. But anyway, one last comment.
I'll be getting a text later.
Yeah, one last comment. There were a lot of people that, why are you letting school out for this? Are you kidding me? This is a science lesson in person.
And for what the kids experienced yesterday, they did get to go into totality. That's something else. Now, my niece down in Tennessee, she showed a photo of herself and looking up and everything, how beautiful it was with her glasses on. And then she showed a side shot of what they were actually seeing, and it was nothing but cloud cover.
Cloud cover, oh, great.
And so I did see the satellite projection you shared on our Twitter, and she was part of that heavy cloud cover that came through, so they didn't get to enjoy that. But
not everybody got it.
Craig Kearns, principal at Huntington High School, I liked what he placed on Facebook. It was his glasses and says, for sale, slightly used. For the next eclipse, which the next time we'll see something, was it 2035, I think? And then 2044.
Yeah.
But the next thing like what we saw yesterday coming through this territory won't be until 2099, and we will not.
I will long time and been in heaven by that time, folks.
Yes.
I might. If I do it right, I could be here.
Yeah.
Be 99 years old.
You got to do a lot of things right, I think.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah. But hopefully everybody was safe and enjoyed that experience.
Absolutely.
Once in a lifetime.
There were some other things that happened yesterday, and They are?
Yeah, well, we want you to be able to join up for the Just Walk Fayette County. That's tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Cameron Caseman will be discussing grief and loss. Don't miss out on this informative event, followed by lunch. To register, so you got to do it today since it's coming up tomorrow, call the Fayette County Family YMCA at 335-0477. Of course, that's located just north of Washington Courthouse.
You had me at lunch.
You had me at lunch.
Join the Ross County Park District on April 27th. They celebrate a kickoff of the multi-use trail system at Ohio University Chillicothe. This project will provide the community with a multi-use perimeter trail and connection to downtown Chillicothe from campus. Through Phase 1, you can help create the first Rake and Ride section that provides a public downhill mountain bike experience as well as a home base for the Ross County Mountain Lions Youth MTB team to train. That's mountain terrain bike, MTB.
I couldn't figure that one out.
Maybe MT just means mountain.
Okay.
Mountain Burial could be too. You can learn about the entirety of the project and what MTB stands for when you check in more with them. To register, call Ross County Park District 740-773-8794. Miranda Lambert is...
That's not right.
That's not right.
Miranda Vance.
Miranda Vance.
Yeah. Miranda Lambert is a country singer, isn't she?
Well,
and Miranda Vance will be here. We'd really have a big audience if Miranda Lambert was here. Miranda Vance is going to be here on Monday to talk more about this and a lot of other things that go. I mean, they're going to open up the other park with the Frisbee thing.
Disc golf.
Disc golf. Yeah. I'm looking towards Aaron because he was part of the park district this time last year. And what's the name of that park? Starts with an M. Matagua?
Mataqua? Yes. Mataqua.
That was me guessing.
They got a lot on their plate that they'll be talking about.
They do.
The annual Drug Take Back Day, this is something that's happening in communities all over the United States. But this information is specifically for Pickaway County. The event, no matter where you are, will be held from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. But again, these locations, Circleville, there's 2 there, Asheville has 1, New Holland, and Commercial Point. When we find information about some of our other counties of interest for Litter Media, we'll be sure to post those as well.
Pickaway is new to me. I've never seen or heard of that before. The Pickaway Joint Fire District must be Fayette County and Pickaway County.
Well, that's correct. That has been around for a while. So
I'd never heard it referred to.
Yeah, because New Holland borders Pickaway and Fayette County.
And we have history with New Holland.
Yes, sir. If he's still out there.
Perhaps we'll share a radio moment before the end of the day. Adina Mansion and Gardens has their heirloom sale, the plant sale. Once again, the sale focuses on heirloom plants that are varieties raised and passed on before the advent of industrial farming. Many plants go back at least as far as Worthington's time. So if you want to get some tomatoes that might be back towards that time, you can get that taken care of. Varieties of flowers, vegetables, and other herbs will be on sale. It begins May 4th and runs until Sunday, May 19th. Also, Steve Patrick, remember our buddy Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Steve has been a part of the radio program before. Continue to honor Skip Hathaway and her love for art. To Skip into art. The art class for children ages 5 and up. The children must have a parent or chaperone with them, and admission to the event is free, and art supplies will also be provided. Skip into art will be on Saturday, May 4th. That starts at noon at Adina Mansion and Gardens.
Our road report is actually something we had in our topics yesterday, but we wanted to pass along to you again today. All this week in the city of Chillicothe, they have a road closure along portions of East Main, East 4th, North and South Hickory Streets and South Mulberry. Work will also extend to the alley off East Main between North Hickory and North Mulberry, as well as East 5th between South Mulberry and Madeira Avenue. One of the reasons I brought this back up, I read this yesterday. I read it. And I turned down a street that the road was blocked that I had already read just a couple of hours before. So just one more time, be prepared. Those roads are closed.
Mike Smith's Homer Simpson moment.
Don't. Yeah. I wasn't paying attention to my own newscast.
Before we get into the break, a radio moment. New Holland. We obviously at WPEX, a lot of the programs that were on there, syndicated programs, were of conservative leaning, and we received, I can't say it's hate mail, but we received correspondence from
Snarky
emails from a listener in New Holland.
Yeah.
Who continued to lay on us because of our liberal ways of thinking.
See, Dan can't even say liberal.
Yeah, it just it doesn't roll off the tongues for me. But we never found out who this person was.
I wonder if it was just a joke, but it was so crazy. But we had a number of different letters that came.
But it was written so seriously, though. Yeah. And I'm thinking, if you really listen to our program and know who we are, what you're saying is
totally out of line. Yeah,
it was fake news before fake news became fake news.
Yeah. But it got to be almost funny. Our voice from New Holland there.
So when we think about New Holland, we think of you, whoever that person was. All right, coming up in a moment to look at sports and still to come, this date in history. Stick close for all that and more. But first, Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you've got maybe a radio program you want to throw into a dumpster, you can do so. Scioto Valley Dumpsters, give them a call, 740-253-8389. And you can see on their map there, they even service New Holland. So give them a call, 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters.
Each week, Litter Media presents the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Player of the Week. If you have an athlete to nominate, any amateur athlete is eligible. Simply visit littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. At the end of the year, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Make your nominations now at littermedia.com. Click on Player of the Week.
As a basketball coach and a dad, I need to be able to keep up.
Mark came to the Adina Orthopedic and Spine Institute in severe arm pain from a degenerative disc.
I was so confident in Dr. Fleming. He explained everything.
Together, they decided on minimally invasive spinal surgery to relieve Mark's pain and get him back to what matters most. At Adina, we do what we love, so you can too.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance, on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
Visit ChillicotheOhio.com for the Ross Chillicothe Convention Visitors Bureau. By the way, Melody Young will be here Friday morning for a special edition to prepare us for World Heritage Week, which is next week. Not just here in Ross County, but also in the Newark area, as well as down in around Lebanon, right in Fort Ancient.
Correct.
It's Warren County?
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sports.
Yeah, there's a new national champion in men's college basketball. The Huskies of UConn last night, just too much for the Boilermakers. 75-60. That's back-to-back championships for UConn.
I had Purdue.
I was hoping Purdue would win, but if you watch that game, they started to pull away in the second half, and Draymond Green. Oh, you got to, if you know NBA basketball, just say Draymond Green, and you know that, okay, what did he say? He was basically saying Zach Edey quit with about 19 minutes to go in the second half. So, oh well.
That is the 8th consecutive loss for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And mind you, Ohio State's only lost one of those, and Michigan has lost 2. So I want to throw it. But Michigan State, the last Big Ten team to win a national championship.
That's correct.
I can't remember the last time I watched a national championship game. Can't remember.
Yeah.
I can remember the last time that I listened to one on radio. It's because the power was out at the Ramey Ranch.
Oh.
And I was working at the radio station at the time, and I wanted to know what was going to happen so I could talk about it the next day.
Yeah.
Today, I didn't care.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me. Whatever. I was all eclipsed yesterday.
Yes, sir.
In other sports, high school action yesterday, and we saw that some conference games were played, some weren't, so imagine that probably the Eclipse was into play on that. So here you see some of those. Edina beat Paint Valley, Unioto took Southeastern here locally. Many other for you there too, plus softball. Unioto and Edina picked up some softball wins there. And tonight, they've got the Radiger Invitational being run down at Waverly High School. For those of you that have not been to Waverly High School for a while, they've got the new scoreboard up. And when we talked about this a few weeks ago, they weren't sure if they would be able to have it up and running where they could show video and everything of the runners doing what they do. But I've not checked back with them since. So if you're going down to that track meet later today, you want to take a good look at that. It should be kind of cool.
Didn't put this up, but this came across just a little bit ago. Edina Local School District, I guess they have a track meet at home, but the bleachers are not up. They are moving. If you haven't heard this yet, at Edina's football and track stadium, what used to be the home side is moving across the field.
So you don't have to stare in the sun?
Exactly. After 50 years, they finally figured it out. So they took what was the visiting bleachers to the old home side, and those are not even done yet. So they're saying if you're going out to that dual meet tonight at Frankfort, bring lawn chairs. So you'll have something to sit on.
And come football season, it'll be the visitors who finally get to look into the sun.
Yeah.
And have your total eclipse glasses.
There you go.
One more reason to carry those with you.
Yes, sir. Yesterday, the Ohio High School Baseball Coaches Association released their top 20 polls. Now, the unique thing about this is if you were looking at the score page a while ago, Division 4, Paint Valley was ranked. They lost. And I believe I saw that Notre Dame, are they in there somewhere? I thought Notre Dame was in there. Maybe but Notre Dame did lose yesterday. I don't know that they were ranked. The girls are in softball, but we don't have that up. But Division 1, Lancaster was the closest team to us that was ranked in the top 10. But Zane Trace looking good. They're ranked number 4 in the state in Division 3. Wheelersburg is ranked number 1. Those were probably the two highest ranked teams in our area, other than White Oak being 4th. Waverly, you see, down in Division 2, they're ranked at number 9.
If Notre Dame's on there, we can't see it because we were staring at the sun yesterday.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Reds and Brewers in action yesterday, and look at this guy. He not only launched a home run off of the batter's eye, 450 feet away. Later in the contest, he scored on a inside the park home run. First inside the park home run since last fall when TJ Friedel did it. But when this guy flies around these base paths, it's extra special.
Yeah. 14 point some seconds, they said, from home to home.
And for those of you not able to watch what we're saying, that's Eli De La Cruz.
Yes.
Man, that kid can fly, flat out fly. And so I counted his steps, 9 steps between the bases.
Yeah, that's pretty good. There was another tweet that went out yesterday. Some of the Reds players were out on the field earlier in the day looking at the eclipse. Well, later in the night, when Ellie hit that moonshot, they were showing the guys looking up, saying we were looking at how Ellie's ball was taking out of the ballpark.
So they're back into action again tonight.
Right.
And I think Frankie Montrose is on the mound for the Reds tonight.
Yeah. And the Guardians won their home opener yesterday. This game was moved back to a 5:10 start because of the eclipse earlier in the day.
I thought it was cool. We were watching the start of this. They were doing the opening ceremonies where they're introducing the coaching staff, support staff, everybody. And Slider, the mascot for the Guardians, also had some eclipse glasses on. So it was pretty cool to see that. The RCCA, that's Ross County Christian Academy. Cornhole tournament is coming up May 4th. May the 4th be with you. With pre-registration deadline April 20th. Proceeds will benefit the athletic boosters. So if you want to toss those bags around and sink them in the hole, this is your opportunity.
Did you know that I did intramural cornhole in college?
Did not know that.
Were you All-American at that?
No.
Okay. But were you any good?
I was fine.
He was just fine.
I've had one magic moment during cornhole, and this was down in Tennessee. It was my nephew Josh and I were teamed up against, my son. He's at the other end, and my nephew Josh was next to me. My sister was at the other end. It was my sister's cornhole set, had University of Tennessee on it and all this kind of stuff and everything. And we needed one shot to win the whole deal. I let it loose, and it's in mid-flight, and I'm going, game. That son of a gun went right through the hole. I mean, it was like, shook, and my sister goes, and walked away. I said,
now, do you get extra points for sinking it without hitting anything, as opposed to sliding in? No extra points.
No
for
extra
that.
points.
Just style
cool
and pride
factor.
points.
Cool
that kind of thing.
It's kind of like this is very rare that a hole-in-one in golf is rare, but I have seen once or twice in the Pro Tour where it landed in the hole on the fly. That's rare.
Yeah.
I saw one of the Sports Center had a shot of the day. It was from last weekend's golf match where the guy hits his tee shot, comes up, it hits the pole, and then fell next to the cup.
Yeah.
And then took 10 seconds and fell into the
after
hole.
that.
Yeah, that's.
I wonder if there was an earthquake
awesome.
like in Caddyshack.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the case or not. I had one other fantastic sports moment like that. And for the life of me, it's gone now.
Oh, it wasn't too fantastic.
It was, we were at Brian Wickline's house. He had a bunch of people that were Paint supporters and everything at his house. This has been probably 20 years ago. And had a pool table set up. So John Wind, myself, we're going head to head. And I said, I'll split. So he racks them up, puts the balls up. And I break. And darn if the balls just didn't fly, and like 5 or 6 balls went into the pockets. And I remember seeing, now John Wind, if you remember him, he was like Mr. Spacely. And he's standing there, he's got his pool cue in this hand, and he's got his hand on the table, and he's looking down going,
One right after the
and
other.
then looks up at me and he says, "Did you just do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, let's count what's left on the table because we didn't know if I was going to be solids or stripes.
Exactly.
You know, it was really cool. And it's never happened again.
Never again.
There's once in a lifetime moments, just like the Eclipse.
Yes.
Sports complete. Find out more. If you want to find out what's going on with our local sports coverage, follow our Twitter page to be able to see what's going on. Mike keeps that going. I mean, he is Twitter man.
Twitter man. I don't know if I want to go down on my tombstone. Twitter man. Yeah. Okay. Don't get him started again.
This date in history and our revolutionary moment is coming up next.
All right. Litter Media Live is brought to you in part by Litter Quality Propane. Online propane monitoring and reporting. Know your home's consumption and gas remaining in the tank. Find out more at litterpropane.com.
At Rathkamp Financial, we offer customized investment solutions and superior client service. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
I was looking for a first job. I had been babysitting and decided it was something for a little more permanent. It pays very well. It's convenient. You can make your own schedule with the flexibility. That's something that I like. The people that I work with are great. I wouldn't ask for a better crew or management team to work for.
Are you looking for a beer that satisfies your thirst and love of country? Armed Forces Brewing Company brews beer for patriots. Celebrate freedom with every sip. Armed Forces Brewing Company. Freedom never tasted so good. Revolutionary moment and this date in history. I get to handle the revolution.
You're doing the revolution, yeah.
I get to, back in 1779, General George Washington from the Board of War. The letter references a need for shoes by the Army. The board presents the general with a recommendation. We therefore submit to your excellency's opinion whether it is not expedient to draft 1 or 2 the best shoemakers from each regiment and station them under a proper director at Philadelphia, Lancaster, or other place which shall be judged most convenient to make shoes for the army at large. Such a factory, with the other means of supplies, we should hope would always keep the armory well provided.
Now,
Yours truly.
Just a week ago, George Washington is ripping John Jay about not using his Navy, and today George is getting it from the board, the war board, about, hey, get these guys some shoes.
Yeah.
Also, on this date, in 1866, exactly 1 year after Robert E. Lee surrenders at Appomattox Courthouse and decades before police officers would be pulling over speeding cars, Ulysses S. Grant, Lieutenant General of the U.S. Army, now listen to this, had been pulled over for speeding in his horse buggy in Washington, D.C. According to a 19th century newspaper, 2 police officers detained Grant on 14th Street where he was exercising his fast gray nag. Grant offered to pay the fine, but expressed his doubts of their authority to arrest him and drove off. Grant's defiance, though, later subsided. He acknowledged the warrant, appeared before the justice of the peace, and paid the fine. I don't know if he
Those Mustang drivers.
I don't know if he had any extra fine charge for fleeing a police officer in his buggy or what, but
I wonder if there was a whiskey bottle thrown by the wayside as he was driving away.
Yeah, speeding through D.C. in his horse buggy. Yeah. Wow. 1866 on this date.
Oh, defiance. There you go.
So,
all right.
Yeah, and he wasn't even president yet, so. But he's setting a trend. You know where I'm going with this? President's in trouble with the law, yeah. Or former presidents, yeah.
Well, you just came out of the war, a year before. So, and laws were kind of thrown by the wayside.
Yeah. I want to take this nag for a run here. Let's see what she can do down the stretch here. Okay.
All right. I think that's it for today. And, Traffic Light Sports. My buddy is going to be at 102 at the next total eclipse. How about that?
Yeah. But he also wanted to know news about John Calipari.
Yeah.
Looks like he may be leaving UK for Arkansas.
I know a lot of Kentucky fans are happy about that, despite the fact that not long ago it sounded like he was going to be there for ever.
How quickly they forget those national championships.
Yeah. All right, that's it for today's program. We're back at it again tomorrow, and we won't have the solar eclipse to talk about, which will make it a shorter program, I guess. But we appreciate those who have followed along and watched everything and shared. Thank you so much for making that a special day yesterday, and we hope it was special for you today in our follow-up. For Aaron Glandon, our guy back from the eclipse and from totality, and for Mike Smith, I'm Dan Ramey. Thanks for watching Litter Media. And for those of you listening to Litter Media Radio, we return you to your regularly scheduled program.